we should spend some time talking about the anarchy / debacle that was that Nashville game. I mean, shout out Jakob Trenin for being the one, or sorry, Trenyan, for being
goal scorer Jakob Trenyan.
And I do love that coming in, they were like, it was well known that like everyone in that room like lining up, like calling dibs, like go fucking LaRue, and like LaRue, I guess whatever credit to it for actually just going first shift. Trenyan did not want that fight to end. He wanted to keep going, and it's just always interesting when you see like ex teammates actually like. And I can't remember how many games LaRue played last year, if any. And even if it was like Trenyan went to Colorado at the deadline, so I don't even know how many games LaRue's been there for. But I mean, in Nashville, it's Trenyan going, and like some of those those were some big boy punches that were thrown, and he did not want that fight. And at one point, it felt like he was just like trying to pick him back up. But then we just got 2 more in the first 7 minutes. And it was chaos, dude. Like, that was nuts. Like, and it felt like it was one of those things where it's like you want to be all like fired up about it, but then they clearly were like, oh shit, I forgot we have to play hockey too. Because they were fucking dog shit for 60 minutes. They were so.
But before we move on, though, from all the insanity with LaRue and Trenyan, how funny is it that they had to delay his tribute video because he was sitting in the box for the first TV timeout?
Like, incredible. Cool. Incredible. It would have been
way cooler if they did it while he was sitting in the box. He just stands up. He's like, what's up?
I mean, it was just so good.
I'm not here to like gatekeep either. Because I know you're the person that gets like the most upset when people bring up stuff like Ring of Honor versus jersey retirement and stuff like that. But did Trenyan do enough in Nashville to like warrant getting a video tribute? Like, hand up, I didn't really pay much attention to him when he was in Nashville, so maybe he did. I have no idea.
I feel like now across the league, it's like if you've been on a team and like a decent contributor for more than like 2 or 3 years, like you're getting a fucking tribute video. I wish I could remember some off the top of my head, like here in Boston. I was like, what? Like, all right, what? I mean, like it doesn't really like that shit doesn't. The tribute videos I don't really care that much about, but it is like there's some that happen. And you're like,
yeah.
But he was. I mean, like he was one of. He's been there for a long time. I mean, even his rookie year, but he was the one that like. I remember the Bruins were playing Nashville, and he caught Chara with a clean uppercut to the chin, and that was the start of his like lore. And then he ended up just being a pretty good all-around player, like really good all-around player. He had a couple of years where he showed some legit offense too. So he's been a big contributor there for. I mean, I would say he was probably been there 5 or 6 years, I think, or something like that. So it wasn't like shocked, but it's just. It is like you don't think Nashville Predators, Trennan. Like it's not like one of those. So it's always interesting when those guys are getting like the big video tributes. But I do love that to wait until he came out of the box. They're like, fuck. We had a lot of other shit we had to do. Now we have to reschedule everything. God damn it. We thought it was going to be anyone else. We knew this was going to happen, but not him. So it's funny that they had to fucking delay the video. That's great.
Yeah. Love that.
Love that. But yeah, they decided, I mean, Minnesota, I don't think they had 5 minutes that game where I was like, they look good. They looked like they just abandoned. They were like, oh, fuck. I thought they thought they were just showing up to a fight. Like, it was like, we're going to brawl and then we have a hockey game in a couple days. But like,
yeah.
Late. Oh, well, I mean, David Jiricek, first goal. There we go. We never got there. But I'm not surprised that he's looked good, but I like the fact that he's looked this comfortable. And again, since he came into the lineup, first of all, half their fucking lineup, half of their legit NHL players were out. And then like the matchups that they've had since he came in, and like yeah, there is good always with a young defenseman. There's always going to be a few plays where like, oh, there's the classic young defenseman, like a mistake. But like he already just looks very comfortable playing in Minnesota and playing in the NHL. I mean, he gets that goal against Nashville. He sets up another one today. Apparently, just watch that one. But he looks great. Like, and it's so interesting to me that it's like, obviously, Columbus had their concerns with him. And then you go and watch the tape, like, yeah, okay, it makes sense, like watching. But like, it is crazy how much of like when the chains come off, like just mentally, he just looks like a completely different player. Like he's playing free. He wants the puck every time they're rushing up the ice, like not afraid to get physical at his own end too. Like I've just been so impressed with how he's come in at an inopportune time in Minnesota with like the whole lineup being fucking out. They're playing a bunch of like in division top teams, and that's when he gets thrown in. And like, I mean, he's given 13, 14, 15, 16 minutes a night, and he looks already like you can't take him out of the lineup. Like it looks like he's a guy that's probably here to stay. And it's just making me feel very good about the trade, especially long term as you project it out, because I've just been very impressed with him. It seems like he's getting better every shift. So big shout out to David Jiricek.
Because I completely agree with everything you said there, but my question, the one that fans will ask if things trend the wrong way, if the Wild miss the playoffs, do you change your tune at all on that?
What do you mean? Like if they missed
even the first round pick?
Oh, no.
Okay.
I mean, like, again,
I know he was drafted. I know what his talent level is, but I know there's fans that are immediately going to lose their mind. So I'm trying to preemptively like get them to calm down and realize it's not a big deal.
Yeah, no,
that's
again,
where my head's at. Sorry.
It will. I mean, we'll be talking about this draft later on, but
that way,
especially when you look at, I mean, outside of the top 5, 6 of this draft, it feels like this is like I could only come up with probably, I mean, I gave you a top 20 plus honorable mentions that we'll talk about, but like, I think by pick like 12, 13, I was almost throwing darts at the board. Like, I know I like these guys. I want them in my top 20, but like, there's probably 10 or 15 I could have tried to fit in there, which is why there's so many honorable mentions. But like, I would say if they miss the playoffs, it's not like they're going to be like a top 10 pick anyways. The upside that's there, the fact that this is a move for like long term, I'm not going to be, that wouldn't change how I feel about making this trade, because I think there's so much more room to just to grow. He already looks great.
How devastating is it if you end up being a top 3 pick because you happen to get the lottery glitch? It won't happen because we're Minnesota. Actually, maybe it would because we don't have it. I don't know how that works. I don't know the juju.
I can't figure out how bad this would suck. But it'll whatever the worst possible way for us to lose that pick would be, that's how it will happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, regardless of how the rest of the season goes, I'm just seeing what we've seen so far already, knowing that there's like a whole lot of room for him to get significantly better too. As you map out the future for Minnesota, like he's going to be a big piece. So I feel good about the trade no matter what.
Sure. All right. Flyer Voracek. Gerard is absolutely someone that Hartman could do something very scummy against. Buckle up.
I love reading that without context because I can't watch the game right now. So it's very funny in my head thinking what Gerard possibly could have done that just sent Hartman over the edge, which doesn't take much of just for existing. I don't know. Like Hartman's like, damn, motherfucker.
Oh, here, I'll give you this one, Z, and I'm just gonna like step away and not comment.
Oh God. Yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like that would be one for you because I mean, Pittsburgh, I mean, they got hot. And I mean, what are they?
They were hot, then they were not.
Yeah, no, did they fall right back off the cliff again?
I mean, Jerry got.
Oh, yeah. So, I feel like you should talk about that for a little bit.
There's not much to talk about. He sucked. Because what's crazy is, like, everyone was worried about that contract, like, nationally. And I was as well, but it wasn't because of his ability. It was because of the injury scare. Like, he's a guy that just has not been able to stay healthy. And the fact that he has so far, and still it's just been brutal. Easily the biggest blunder early on of Kyle Dubas's tenure. But as many have pointed out, like, his job's not at all in jeopardy. They signed him to a 7-year deal for a reason. Like, they've clearly got a longer term plan for how they're going to build this roster. It's just, like, right now weird. I don't know. Have you gotten many peeks at Owen Pickering getting some NHL time? Because I know he's a guy that you were, like, super happy that the Penguins got that draft year.
I haven't watched much. I'll be honest. The last time we talked about the Penguins for more than like 2 minutes, it was in the middle of their initial, just like, I mean, it was much like when I shit on the Bruins, like, unwatchable period of time. So I haven't watched a ton, but again, like, I was very, when they made that pick, I was like, that is an A+ pick, especially for where they got him. He can do a lot. So I haven't really watched much of his NHL shifts. I've seen like bits and pieces. And the few amount of shifts that I have watched is like, yep, that looks like exactly, pretty much like it checks out. Like, yeah, he's also getting
exactly pretty much.
Yeah, but yeah, exactly, kind of, in a way.
No, the full Midwest. Yeah, no.
Yeah, no, yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, that's one of the few young players.
You just did it.
I know. That was one of the few, like, young prospects. Like, at least they have this guy.
A person.
Now
They used to have Braden Yeager. That doesn't exist anymore, though. It
Yeah.
did make it way more fun making fun of him, though, during World Juniors. I don't think I would have been able to do all the Matthew Wood jabs that I did if he was still a Penguin. So that was like the one plus.
McGrory's gonna be fine. He's gonna be a good player. It's just, obviously, I feel like
laying down on a therapy couch for this, or
no. I just, obviously, like, it's year one of that trade. It's just like, oh, he's getting all the attention already for it, and then Pittsburgh is they're at where they're at, and it's like, so I feel like the first year, especially if he doesn't, like, immediately jump into that lineup, be a legit impact guy, it's always just gonna be like, he's got so much attention on him already.
Yeah.
And it just happens to coincide at this moment in time in Pittsburgh where it's just, like, gonna be rough. But I mean, I don't know. He's a super young player. He's got a ton of upside. He does a lot of things, like, in all three zones. He's a really good player. So
I never had an issue with the player. Like, and I know you know that, but, like, in general, my issue was, why are you making this trade when Winnipeg's backs are against the wall? Like, he doesn't want to play there. He's made that clear. And you made a very even trade, giving up your best offensive prospect. That's what bothered me, because the reason that makes sense is if you need him for this year. And so far, that's proven to not be the case. If it's, hey, let's wait and let him develop, like, I would have preferred to wait and let Braden Yeager develop, personally.
Mm-hmm.
That's more my... I don't have any issue with Rooker McGrory. Like, he's a great player. I just... The trade, circumstances around it, and I don't know. It just bothered me.
It did feel like it was almost Pittsburgh like, hey, he wants out. We're interested. And Winnipeg was like, okay, Braden Yeager. And Pittsburgh was like, okay. Like,
yeah, right.
No, really? Cool. All right. Well, yeah, fuck it. Let's call it in. There was no back and forth. Took 2 seconds, shortest phone call of all time. Because it was interesting.
Yeah. Did I tell you about the like summer fantasy camp thing? The incident with Braden Yeager?
No.
Hilarious. So it's like a bunch of kids. They're like outside playing like street hockey or something, and like meeting some of the Penguins players. And a kid goes up. This kid had to have been like 8 or 9 years old, I would guess. He goes up to Braden Yeager and dead ass asked him, "Will you sign my stick as Sidney Crosby?" And he reacted correctly. He thought it was the funniest thing. Like, he laughed at it. He's like, "Oh my God, good on you for asking. I don't think that I can sign Sid's signature." No.
That is, I love that.
It's the best thing ever. Like a kid legit asked him, like dead serious, like, can you sign this as Crosby? Like, what?
And I almost wish he did. He just was like, what the fuck? Fuck you. What a dumb fucking question.
I need you to point over to the side and show me which one is your parent because I need to have words.
Yeah. Banned from all NHL games ever, forever.
It's so good though. So yeah, another just like side reason that should have no bearing on me liking a player, but because of that whole like exchange, I'm like, God, I love this guy. He's gonna be my guy. And then he wasn't.
Recent comments. Let's see. Ace Beaupre. Stramel has as many goals as Perreault for all the haters. Yep. Stramel with a big time game 2 versus Michigan. I think he finished with 2 goals and an assist. Let me pull up actually my full-on sheet here. So he's got 21 points, 24 games, which is 8 goals. Hey, again, like with Stramel too, like when we saw him in person, we've talked about the hit pretty much every time. We've like since I was in Minnesota, like I feel like we've mentioned that hit by Stramel at least once. Not only is it impressive that he's become their number 1 center, he's on the ice in every big situation. He's producing points. Like he's doing the things that we said he needed to do to like buy back into like the Stramel hype or whatever, or well, to maintain face,
no, to
maintain
start,
face. Yeah. Well, no,
the hype,
maintain our own, like just whatever. But like he has been remarkably under control. Like not like, I mean, the last few, I mean, his whole career since I started watching him, he's always had a few games where he just like he snaps. And I thought it was going to be game 1 versus Minnesota when we watched him live because he was screaming at the ref off the opening face-off. And like he just had a rough night. And I felt like he was so close a few times to just blowing someone up from behind. But I mean, he has maintained like a level of composure this season. He's only got 12 penalty minutes. And it's just like, he has completely like just the change of environment. Not only like he's like more comfortable, but he is completely different. Like he is a completely different player in every sense. Like he is logging a ton of ice time too, just being their like go-to guy. And he's been incredible, but of course, another big game, another big time performance from him. I mean, he's had one of the Michigan versus Michigan State, regardless of where each of those teams are. Like that's always obviously going to be a big matchup. 2 goals and an assist in that second game in a 4-1 win. We saw him score the winning goal against Minnesota in that the eventual game winner.
Yeah, it was a great too.
And like I think they've played Wisconsin 2 or 3 times.
They got Minnesota again in Michigan next week.
There you go. But I mean, going up against Wisconsin, his old team too, he's been a big dog in those games. Like, and just when they were in Wisconsin, when he scored, he was giving it to the crowd. I love Charlie Stramel, dude. I just, he's such a fun player.
Dude, he was such an easy kid to talk to when he jumped on with Joe and I.
Mm-hmm. But unless you're just permanently deciding to hold where he got drafted against him, he is such a fun player to root for because he plays such a style that like if you really like tough hockey, he's very fun. Like he is super fucking physical. He does have really good hands. He's got some offensive upside. He plays really good 2-way game, and he is like he just will go old school, and he's so fun to watch. So
no, I don't want to fuel the haters, Z, but that like I will give them this. We went to both games in Minnesota. We saw 2 very different Charlie Stramels when he was here, right? Mm-hmm. Like that is where seeing a little bit more consistency and getting a little bit more dose of Saturday versus Friday will shut fans up a lot quicker. There's something they're never going to shut up, right? But like for the ones who are reasonably critical, like that's really what I want to see from him. And that's why like I would love to see him go back and do 1 more year at Michigan State. I think it would do him a world of good. Like just be in a positive environment for 2 years in a row without change. Be kind of nice, I imagine, for him.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know.
And I mean, like, he gave the people that are just relentlessly choosing to shit on him, like, he gave him plenty of material at Wisconsin. Like, it just didn't go well at Wisconsin.
That team didn't go well at Wisconsin.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. That was, like, again, so you always have to, like, add the context in, but, like, there's always going to be fuel for that fire, you know? But, like, again, just watching him at Michigan State every week, he's been so fucking good. And, like, I was talking earlier about how different David Jiricek looks in his NHL shifts in Minnesota versus, like, when he was playing the few games he did in Columbus. Just like seeing, it is crazy how much a player can change once they're in that environment that they're legitimately comfortable in and feel like they have some room to play. Like, it is crazy, like how different of a player they look like. It's crazy. But Stramo's just been awesome, so I'm very happy for that kid. But yeah, all that comes back to fucking. It's got the same number of goals as pros. There you go.
We got this one from Mateo Z. Pionk being top 10 in NCAA scoring for defensemen kind of rocks. No,
he's putting up crazy points at Duluth, and like, it's always
now that Duluth has like figured out how to play hockey. The start of the year, dude. Ask Max Veach. Like, I've never seen him more depressed.
Dude, when we were talking to him when we were in the game in 3-1 win, big win. What a performance!
Hey-o.
Oh my god, fucking Colorado really turned it on. Shots on goal the third period. Holy shit. That's crazy. And there you go. Russo says huge huge night for Jiricek. Tough day for the Jiricek skate crowd. I fucking love it. He just says, fuck, I need to chirp people. No, but like, we talked to Veach when I was in Minnesota.
Yeah.
And he was like, I don't even fucking know anymore, man. I was like, oh, that's never.
He's the guy who always spin zone shit too. So like, the fact that he's just like, I don't even know anymore. I'm like, uh-oh.
Like, hey, man, you have a lot of good things happening for you personally.
You got a lot to live for, man.
You have a lot to be happy about in your life. Don't let Duluth do this to you. No, but Pionk seemingly gets at least 1 or 2 points like every game, and like, Duluth has had a few games where they've gotten their fucking doors blown off, and I think Pionk's only been a dash in like 2 or 3 of those games. So every time it's like, I think they lost to Arizona State, like one of those games by like 4 or 5, and I think Pionk was like a +1. So in my head, it's always very funny to me, and I'm like, I had my guy. Fuck it, I don't know what you guys are doing. And I mean, he's playing like 26 minutes a night. Like, he is on the ice almost half the game. And he quarterbacks that power play. Really, really good skater. He's got, obviously, considering he only became a defenseman a few years ago. He's got a ton of offensive instincts. So yeah, I mean, a lot of those points do come from the power play, but like, his transition play looks really good too. So he's a fun player to watch. And like, Duluth, that barn's always nuts when they're good. So like, the more Duluth can play well, I love watching that play. Like, watching that team when they're not like fucking 2-15. That's a fun fucking atmosphere. And it gets rowdy. So yeah, he's been really good though. He's putting up points left and right. Let me just actually pull it up now.
Yeah,
he's got 19 and 22. Yeah, he's been good. Let me pull up. Who's the other fucking? Oh, you know who's staying hot too in the WHL? Ryder Ritchie is on a fucking heater. He's over a point per game now. He's again, since he came back from taking that skate to the face, and he was out for a long time. Like,
just casually laid since he took a skate to the face. No big deal.
Well, like, he missed a ton of time, and like, it was just nuts how, like, I remember I went back later and like watched that game. And it was just like, oh, and the commentators like realized that he wasn't playing anymore like 15 minutes later. And then there was no like press release about, like, usually they have something, or it's just like the one update I got 3 weeks after it was like, Richie's still out, not expected back anytime soon. And I was like, that's a crazy way of wording that. Like, not even, you can't even look like week to week out there. Like, that's nuts. But since he's come back. Since he's come back, I think he's only had 1 or maybe 3 games where he doesn't have at least 1 point. He went off on Saturday with 2 goals in a 3-2 shootout win against Calgary, his first start of that game. And
what's a shootout win? I'm a Gopher fan.
Oh yeah, no. What are they? And what?
20 something, I think.
Yeah, that was nuts. Yeah, like, wait, that can't be right. You're like, no, seriously.
No, that's like the running joke. it's not even losing. I don't think they've scored.
No, that was why. That's why it was that many. It was like, no, they don't even score a goal. It was 0-27 or something.
Pretty bad.
But yeah, he's up to 30 points now in 29 games. Got 15 and 15. He just looks really good. Medicine Hat started loading up too. They brought in Tanner Melendijk for that back end. So they are a ton of fun. Caden Lindstrom hasn't even played this year either. He's got the back issue. So if he does end up returning at some point, it's the same situation. It's like not expected back anytime soon. But he hasn't played a single game this year, which sucks. But he's been incredible. Kalen Parker still looks really, really good in Calgary. They also have made some big time trades over there. How
many 9-year-olds have they traded?
I don't know. There was one big one that they made. I can't remember what the trade was, but another guy on Calgary that we're going to talk about. We talked about the draft, Benjamin Kindle. He's fucking incredible. He's so fun to watch. He had a ridiculous stretch pass assist yesterday. It was insane. He's really fun to watch. And then I think I talked about this either last week or the week before. Poor fucking Chase Woodsky and Red Deer. I think they've gone a month and a half without a win. Oh. The fact that his save percentage is even close to 900 is nuts. Like, they'll lose by 4 goals and he'll be second or third star of the game. And I don't think the other goalie has played more than 2 games in the past 2.5 months. He is in the net every game, and Red Deer is just getting pounded. They give up like at least 45 shots on goal, like almost every single game, and he is just in there. He's made some insane saves, but it's just like, it's not like they are under siege every game, all game. So like I've talked about trying to evaluate when you just look at the stats in like junior hockey, especially like the CHL. Like a 905 is really fucking good because like it is pretty much all offense. And I mean, a lot of games, both teams are putting up like 40 shots a night. So I think now he's at like a 890. I should pull it up. Actually, I literally just had it. Yeah. He's at an 897 with 3.5 goals against, but he's 12, 19, 3, and they do 4. They do shootout wins and overtime. So it's 12, 19, 3, and 1. But like he's getting second and third star of the game, like at least once a week in like a loss by 3 goals. It's like these fucking poor bastards. He's faced 1,201 shots in 38 games. It's just insane, dude. Jesus. The poor kid. It's unbelievable. So it's always tough to try to like gauge it, but like it's like, yeah, he looks good. He hasn't won in a month and a half, but like he does look good out there.
Yeah, good on you, kid, I guess.
Clearly whoever's doing 3 stars of the game, they noticed. And then there were Harvard played BC last Tuesday. BC wins 3-1, but Ryan Healy scored his first of the year, and it was a fucking rip. Like one of the he picked the corner and the puck went it stayed by the back bar. It just wrapped all the way around. It was so nasty. He put up a couple more points this week. Harvard's a weird team. They're just under 500, but they're going up against some big dogs and staying in the games. And then they've played a couple okay Ivy League teams and got the doors blown off of. It's a very weird hockey team. There's a couple of really good players there, but last year Healy was at almost a point per game. There is just not a whole lot of offense out there for Harvard, but he did put up a couple points this week, so that's always nice to see. So at least wanted to mention him.
Yeah. And then now Ace Beaupre mentioned Midzi going after Rantanen at the end of the game, and whoever says Rantanen is a pissy little guy, isn't he? Z, where does your head immediately go when you see the word pissy?
Leon,
yes,
he's so pissy.
I will never be able to erase that from my brain. Like anyone will say pissy, and I immediately am like, oh, Leon Draisaitl, I love you.
I mean,